Hey guys, how's it going? In this tutorial we're going to learn how to develop games for the Oculus Quest using Unity's new XR system. I'm going to walk you through the steps to set up Unity to both build for the Quest itself and run through the Unity editor on the Quest using Oculus Link. Before we begin, I need to mention there are some prerequisites. Namely, you need to have Oculus Link set up. I'm not going to go over how to install and set up Oculus Link in this video, but you need to have it set up on your Windows computer, and you need to have your Oculus Quest in developer mode. I will link videos below on how to do that. Okay, before we open our Unity project, we need to make sure we have the right install of Unity. First, it's important to mention that we have to have Android build support installed. And also, you need all three of these installed here. At least that's what worked for me. Now we can start setting up our Unity project. Here I used Unity 19.3, but this should work with pretty much any version of Unity 19. Just call it whatever you want, and we're just going to do the regular 3D project template. Once your new project is loaded up, go ahead and open the Unity Package Manager. Inside of here, we're going to search for and install the XR packages we need. The first one is going to be the XR Interaction Subsystems. Once you've found it, go ahead and click Install. The next package we need won't regularly appear in the search results, so we need to click on the Advanced tab and hit Show Preview Packages. Then search for XR Interaction Toolkit. Install that, and we're ready to move on to the next section of setting up the editor. Go ahead and open the project settings, and from there scroll down to XR Plugin Management. Here we're going to need to install the XR Plugin Management. Once it's installed, you should see this screen. Notice that we're going to want to keep Initialize XR and Startup checked. We're also going to want to check the Oculus box to install the Oculus plugins. We want to do this for both the desktop and the Android settings. Once that's done, click over to the Oculus part to just have a quick look to make sure your default settings match mine. Next, click over to the player settings, and let's make sure we have some things right. We're going to need to remove the Vulkan setting from the graphics API and add OpenGLES3. Then scroll down to the minimum API level and make sure that it's set at Android 4.4 KitKat. Now open the build settings, switch to Android, and switch the texture compression level to ASTC. Click Switch Platform and we're good to go. All our settings are finally adjusted correctly. One quick note. If you've had any errors in the Unity console up until this point, you should be good to clear them without any trouble. Now let's actually set up the XR game objects in the Unity scene to work correctly. The first thing we need to do is plug in our Oculus Quest and hook it up with Oculus Link. Once you've verified that Oculus Link is working correctly, go back to Unity and click on Game Objects, XR, and let's make the room scale XR Rig. The XR Rig is a really nice pre-built system that already has our camera controls and our hand controls for the Oculus. Now if you hit play and put the VR headset on, this is what you'll see. Laser beams coming out of your hands in an empty world. Really exciting stuff, right? Now if we examine one of our hand controllers, we can see the components responsible for the laser beam. But I bet a lot of you are asking the question I did. Laser beams are cool, but how do we make hands? I'm glad you asked. Right-click in the game scene, select XR, and click on Direct Interactor. By default, our XR rig came with Ray interactors, but we want direct interactors so we can pick up stuff, have hands, and control the hand animations. So drag your direct interactor over into the camera offset and rename it into left-hand controller. From here, we simply need to change the controller node to be left hand. After that, we will delete the current right-hand controller and make a copy of our left-hand controller to take its place, renaming it appropriately. Don't forget to change the controller node to right hand. Now I'm going to walk us through making a very simple hand game object. Start by creating an empty game object that will be the parent of the hand. Now, my take on a hand game object is very simplistic in this example. I'm just making a cube that will shrink when you're gripping and expand again when you let go of your grip. We're also going to downscale the cubes so that they don't take up the whole frame in VR. Now just make it into a prefab and we're ready to use it for our hands. On our hand controllers, we're going to scroll down to the model prefab and drop our new hand prefab here. Do this on both the left and the right hand controller. This will allow the Unity XR system to take care of spawning and tracking our hand prefab for us. Now when you preview the game, this is what you see. We have cubey hands that we can move around. Yay! Next, we're going to move on to animating the hand. Like I said before, we're going to go for a open hand that's big, and when you grip something, we're just going to shrink the hand. Really basic animations here. The first thing we need to do is add an animator component to our hand. You can do this just by searching for an animator component. Next, we need to open the animator window. You might have to do this from the top menu like I had to. We also need to open the animation window, which you can do from the same area. Next, with the animation window open, click on the hand parent and click Create Animation. Save it with the name that is something that you know will be the grab animation. Now click the little record button and we're going to start adding some keyframes. All we need to do is shrink the hand a little smaller on its X, Y, and Z. Now create a new animation that we will use for when the hand is free from grabbing. This is the released hand animation, if you will. Simply make it have the default size set as the only frame, and now we're ready to move on to the animator. Once you're here, the first thing we're going to need to do is make sure that the default hand state is in the hand-free position. Then click over to the Parameters tab and add two new triggers. One for the hand grab and one for the hand free. Now we're just going to right click and make a transition between hand free and hand grab using the appropriate trigger. Now make a reverse transition from the hand grab to the hand free using the other trigger, and we're looking good. Don't forget to set the animation controller on the hand parent prefab to the one we just created. Back in our main scene, navigate to the hand controllers and let's set up the animations. First, we need to check the Animate Models checkbox. Then, in the Model Select transition, type the name of the grab transition we made earlier. And do the same in the hand deselect, type free. Be sure to copy these same settings to the right hand controller. Now when we play our game in the Unity editor, you can see that when we grip, our hands shrink, and when we release, they expand again. Magic! This brings us to our final part of this tutorial, building the game on the Quest itself. So before we start this part, you will need to unplug your Oculus Quest, plug it in again, put it on. There'll be two pop-up dialog boxes. One asking to start Oculus Link. You need to say no to that one. Then there's going to be one asking to trust the computer you plugged it into after the Oculus Link one. You need to say yes to that one. And just to be perfectly clear, these dialog boxes are on the Quest's operating system itself, not on your Windows computer. Once all that is done, go back to Unity, go File, Build Settings on Android, change the run device to Oculus Quest, then add the open scene to the build scenes, and then click Build and Run. Be sure to come up with a good file save name and save location. And that's it. Once your build is done, you can put on your Oculus headset, go to your library, go to unknown sources, and you should see your Unity game. Congratulations!